invite Suhail Ahmed. He's a partner with Head of Data, Martech and Programmatic from Dentsu. So can we have a big round of applause for him? We have Este, Pretorius, CEO, Boost Sales. Can we have a big round of applause for her? We have Mugilan, Chitambram, Regional Director, Marketing Manager, Valiram. So can we have a big round of applause for him joining as a speaker today? We have Ganesh Iyappan, Display and Cross Media Commercialization and Lead Singapore from Google. So can we have a big round of applause for him? And Kiron Kesav, Chief Strategy Officer, Omnicom Media Group. Can we have a big round of applause for him as a speaker? So over to you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the last panel, we're going to keep it really short. By way of introduction, hello everyone, I'm Suhail. I lead data and Martech for Dentsu. I'm not going to get into a lengthy introduction about myself. We've got a fantastic panel here, a bunch of, consulting, marketing, and agency perspective. I'm also not going to talk or probably set the context on AI. I think we've heard a lot about AI from morning. So I'm just going to go do a quick round of introduction, just maybe where you are, and probably a fun fact about you, just as an icebreaker. We start from Este.
I'm the only chick. Can we not start with me? Okay. Right, Oaks. Hi, I'm Este from South Africa. I'm the CEO of Boost Sales. Started the company during COVID. Very, very blessed in terms of how things have developed. Fun fact about me, I said it earlier this morning, I've got 7 Siberian Huskies. So I have a carpet underneath my feet the whole time. Very happy to be here.
Hello, I'm Mugilan. I was the previous former regional digital marketing manager for Valiram. And for those who doesn't know Valiram is probably the largest luxury retailer in this region for brands like Bath & Body Works, Victoria's Secrets, Rolex watches, and so on. So I was handling their e-commerce and also performance marketing campaigns. And right now I'm consulting luxury brands and also few beauty brands in Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, and few other countries, mainly on e-commerce and performance marketing.
Hi, I'm Ganesh. I work as a display and cross-media commercialization lead for Singapore. So what that means is I help customers reach their marketing objectives. So if you have heard about Performance Max or Demand Gen, those are the revenues, those are the campaign times I'm responsible for revenue for Google Singapore. One not so much fun fact, but less known fact about me is that I'm a powerlifting enthusiast and I can deadlift and squat twice my own body weight. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
How am I going to beat that?
We should taste that later.
Anyway, my name is Kiron Kesav. As the title suggests, Chief Strategy Officer, which is another way of saying that I don't have a fixed job description. I keep walking around and doing things depending on what kind of fires I have to put out on that particular day. Part of an advertising agency specifically focused on communication strategy and media planning and all of that. Fun fact about me, I used to be a voiceover artist once upon a time. So yeah, that's something that I used to enjoy doing, but over the last few years I haven't been able to do.
Great, thanks, Kiran. So I guess you guys have heard a lot about AI, right? What we ideally want to do is probably tackle some important key questions, separate some of the fiction from facts, right? And probably not get into a lot more on generative AI, but we have something very interesting to show you guys on the generative AI bit. So let's dive straight in, right? Maybe Kiran, I'll start with you. I think brands are today looking at marketing efficiency and effectiveness. And so, sort of how are brands today leveraging AI in driving marketing efficiency and effectiveness? Obviously, there are a couple of areas. One is automation, creative testing, optimization. Maybe we can share, from your experience of working with clients, which is one of the core areas when it comes to sort of driving marketing efficiency and effectiveness.
So it's still early days, honestly, at least from a marketing and advertising perspective. As much as we love to say words like thought leadership within our industry, the fact is we're not as cutting edge compared to a lot of tech companies. But the reality is it started coming in now, and the most interesting aspect from where I see it is that across the process of marketing and communication, there are use cases being developed. For example, if you think about it from a creative point of view, if you think about it from a media point of view, right, even before you come to a strategy phase, when it's about generating insights, whether it's about doing a competitive intelligence, there are AI platforms that can help you do that. One of the most obvious use cases is about creating the ads itself, creating content at a faster pace at scale, but it doesn't stop there. From a media perspective, for example, there are partners that we work with these days who help us bring in the power of AI into targeting, into identifying inventory and all of that. And finally, if we think about it from an analytics perspective, I think that's where currently the biggest use cases exist from a marketing perspective. Tremendous amount of data being generated across campaigns, across different kinds of initiatives. So the kind of analysis that goes in there is getting automated in a big way. Slowly we're getting out of the days where planners or people working on the account have to sit and think through realms and realms of data. Somebody else does it for you, an algorithm. You just need to put in the human touch to it. So yeah, cutting across all of the fields of communication, there are use cases being developed, but still early days.
Ganesh?
Yeah, I can add
From a platform perspective.
Yeah, from a platform perspective, if I take a step back and look, think about maybe 5-7 years ago when we used to run search campaigns. Advertisers and agencies used to run search campaigns. They would look at creating keywords, theming those keywords, placing the right bids, placing the right creatives. Now all of that is gone, right? All of it is now getting automated with solutions like Performance Max, etc., which is actually looking at what valuable inputs you're giving and then working behind the scenes to ensure that you get the maximum output from the limited means in terms of inputs that you're giving. Just for an example, you don't need to input all the keywords. You just need to ensure that you have the right targeting in place, right bidding in place, and some good amount of creatives, and system basically figures out which is the ad to be served to the right user at the right point in time. And all of that happens behind the scene using predictive AI. And what bid should I place for this user? So brands and customers who basically adopt on this journey much faster, do all the testing much faster, actually see much more higher returns for the same amount invested versus brands who have not actually adopted AI. So we have seen that clear difference in sort of performance across marketing, across our customers who adopt AI to be much better, more sophisticated, etc. as well.
Great. Mugilan, because you were in Valiram, right, and you've been associated with brands for a fairly long time now. Maybe if you could share, how did you leverage AI, for any of your campaigns, right? Of course, across search, social, and I think Kiran touched about analytics, right? I think also that's a good segue. I think analytics is a good foundation, for brands to start looking at, insights, start looking at predictive analytics, which is the next phase, right? Prediction on users, etc. So it'll be interesting to hear, a use case.
Yeah, so even before we get into the predictive analysis of campaign, right? Now how it was slightly implemented with Valiram was in the sense that Valiram primarily talks about, or their retail brands are pretty much about luxury brands. Now when you talk about luxury brands, people, or especially marketing managers from those days, they have like some sort of like understanding, I wouldn't be able to sell it online. I wouldn't able to sell it in e-commerce websites because I'm a luxury product. My customers are a different niche. They prefer to come to the retail store, touch the product, feel the product, talk to your salesperson about the product before they end up making a purchase, right? Now, when I or the team suggested, hey, we need to implement performance campaigns, AI campaigns, so that you find the right targeted audience who will be also willing to buy it from online, there was a huge no from the SLT meetings, members and so on. The reason being because they still stick by the old stigma whereby people need to touch the product, feel the product, which is true, but there are also certain type of audience who doesn't prefer to visit the retail stores, but they want to talk to you via communications or via WhatsApp or live chat and everything, but they're not specifically want to talk about the product alone. They'll be asking like, hey, can you show me the product, probably a yellow color luxury bag, for example. Can you like open the compartments one by one, open the zipper or open the compartment, show it to me, how does it look like inside? Can you hold the bag like this and show me how long does it fit on my shoulder and so on, right? These are the conversations that happens online. Now, if you fail to capture this audience who are ready to buy it, and you primarily depending on your visitors to the retail store, you're losing almost about 30 to 40% of your customers. The reason why I say 30 to 40%, because out of total sales that we happen to make on a month-to-month basis, we managed to capture almost about 30 to 40% of audience from performance campaigns and also from generative AI campaigns. Now, when I say generative AI campaigns, it's not just the messages that you are receiving on your WhatsApp saying that you are viewing particular product, are you interested in buying? No, it's fully personalized, as in like how long this person has viewed the product, what was their ending page looks like, or what was their criteria when we're selecting the product and so on. It customizes the entire behavior and send us a message in the WhatsApp, which makes the sales more better for us.
Great. I think I'm going to do a little segue, right? Having chatted with Este a while back, right, and post pre-sync up that we did, and I was also chatting with Kiron earlier on this, right? If you see today, especially in Malaysia and Southeast Asia, and Este can give a little bit of a global perspective, right? Different brands are in different digital maturity status, right? So how I think the bigger question, because I do work with a lot of brands on digital transformation, right? And you will be surprised, even the large or global brands, though they have platform licenses, they have got data, but they don't know where to get started with, right? And I think put that in a context a little bit more on the SMEs, that's a harder challenge. So Este, I think it'll be interesting to hear your perspective, right? What approach should brands take? Should they then look up, I think based on the digital maturity stage, should they take a stepped up approach, or should they kind of look at a sort of a crawl, walk, run approach? What have you seen from your consulting experience?
They should take a stop and think approach.
Interesting.
Yes, so the majority of my clients come to me because they've either been buggered around by an agency and they've messed up either integration, databases, whatever the case is, or they are not using technology that they're paying for, they didn't even know they had it, right? So I'm never surprised anymore, and I'm always, in South Africa we always have a bit of a back-end mentality that we're not on the global scale. 99% of my clients on the UK, and I'm still amazed at the lack of certain adoption. And my message really just is even if you're an SME now, even if you're in Malaysia or Pakistan or Vietnam or even in the States, just know we're all in the same boat. We are literally just trying to figure stuff out, right? And everyone's just going, okay, well, I need to get onto this. I need to have a CRM. I have to, data. Oh, no, there's money in the list. Oh, I don't have a list. Okay, I need to build a list type thing. So for me, it's just about, it's okay, but stop, breathe. Just because something is out there doesn't mean you have to use it.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting perspective, right? Maybe I'll again pick from you, Este. I'm going to shift, the turns
segue.
here. Yeah, it's another segue, right? I think this is going to be extremely crucial because, again, I don't want to do like a bit of monologue on the data privacy and technology regulations. All of us aware. So I think, what is the practical sort of a use case for brands, right? How do they leverage AI to I would not say circumvent it, but sort of, leverage platforms, technology, and you just talked about, the data that's been available. How do they sort of, look at this transition in a privacy era?
They hire me, like for real.
Me and Kiron are going to go out of jobs.
No, I'm being facetious. No, the thing is, it really just comes back into what is it that you're wanting to achieve, always. So, and it's not about you as a business, it's about meeting your customer where they're at, what technology they're wanting to use. So I've got luxury brands as clients, And they actually assist, or it's a system, a platform that assists luxury brands find alternative markets, right? So that's about understanding, here's a very good way of using data, using analytics, using insights. But the way is you've got to get the data and understand, what do I do with it? It's a little bit like a lot of times you have a chihuahua that chases after a car, and then it catches the wheel, and it goes, now what, right? So that's why I always say to clients, rather take a step back, understand what you've got, break down the data, understand what the data means. In God we trust. For everything else, bring the data, peeps.
Nice. Maybe this is for Ganesh. It'll be interesting to hear the platform perspective, right? And sort of how Google is really looking at, making sort of changes in the privacy era itself, right? I think there's quite a bit of information about sandbox, etc. But it'll be good. It'll be interesting to hear from you.
Yeah, I think from a platform perspective, I can give you a little bit of a sort of flavor there. Most important, obviously, thing in marketing is measuring the right thing, right? And being able to measure the conversions. With the third-party cookie deprecation and the limitations on device ID identifiers, we're obviously seeing a challenge. With Safari deprecating, Chrome has deprecated 1%, planning to deprecate all third-party cookies by late 2024. Now that presents a challenge of measuring conversions accurately, which is why like a lot of our solutions that we are building is now based on first-party data, which is your first-party, either your, I don't know, if you work in digital marketing, you would have heard about customer match. That is now sort of the front runner compared to remarketing, to sort of from a digital landscape. And in terms of also like observing conversions, we are relying more on first-party data, first-party cookies versus actually third-party cookies. Obviously, otherwise we'll lose conversions. And one thing which we are seeing from a platform perspective is we are seeing less and less conversions which are deterministic, like where we can say this is the exact user which converted. Now we're using that first-party data to model conversions, and a large percentage of conversions are now modeled based on our understanding of the user behavior across platforms, being very confident that this is the same user who converted. So I think it's eventually the world will evolve into two different sort of strategies, using of first-party data more, first-party cookies versus actually third-party cookies. And also from a platform perspective, we'll rely a lot more on modeling versus actually being able to deterministically say it's the same user because of all the privacy concerns prevalent right now. Yeah.
So again, it's not a segue, but I think there's a great point there in terms of conversions, right? I think as these changes happen, brands have to take a aggregated and sort of a model approach to your conversions. But I think specifically with AI, and Kiron, will be interesting from an agency perspective, right? When you look at AI, what is the ROI beyond sales, right? You think you're on the strat side, the customer loyalty, the brand sort of entity becomes extremely crucial. While sales are important, but are there other variables in the mix that brands should consider when they sort of leverage AI? And that sort of goes beyond ROI.
So I would look at it in the perspective of the fact that, yes, AI brings in a lot of savings through efficiencies, whether it's through automation or doing things at scale and fast. But in terms of effectiveness, I think we're screwing it up. Yeah. Because AI is going to lead to a world where we are going to celebrate mediocrity. And I'll say why. Because imagine that everybody has access to the so-called AI. I mean, I'll take the simplest example of generative AI. I know that's not the be-all end-all of AI, but let's take the example of generative AI. Access is not that difficult. Everybody's going to start churning out content or creative or whatnot. There's a limitation to which how differentiated or distinctive those kind of contents would be. In the beginning, it might all look the same, but the reality is AI is generating stuff from the existing data that it's being trained on. So it's going to be average things. So we will be really good at churning out average things. But to do the better things or the most effective things, we still need human beings. So I'm of the school of thought that our jobs are safe for a long, long time.
Yeah, I think human ingenuity is extremely important, right? Maybe, let me now go to Mugilan. And I think from your experience as a marketer, right? how important is human intelligence when you work with your performance team and you want to look at, I think Ganesh talked about PMAX, right? It's a black box. We have to probably park this as a separate discussion. I was reading something very interesting on WAC that said brands are not very confident, on black box models. They are more confident when the machine learning models are pretty open and transparent, right? But again, if I have to just narrow down in terms of optimization, on key sort of business KPIs and campaign KPIs, how important is human intelligence?
I would say it's very important. Human touch or human element in any sort of campaigns, right? Even if we have like a personalization implemented or even like generative AI implemented, is very crucial. I can give one of the example, right? Now, most of the time now, if we have like performance campaign via Facebook or Google, right? Pretty much like what Ganesh said, everything is automated. Pretty much, even if you don't know much information about how to run a campaign, watch a YouTube video for 1 to 2 hours, dish out some random campaigns, you'd be able to make some money. Whether you're able to sustainably do that is the next question, but at least you can do something via Google ads or Facebook ads, right? Now, where the human touch is somewhere lacking, right? For example, for one of the luxury brands that I managed in Valiram, one of their product, I can't remember, it's a red or blue dress, which was worn by one of the very famous actors in a Met Gala event. Suddenly there's a spike of traffic coming to this particular dress. It's not the same dress, but it looks almost similar to what the actress has been wearing for that particular Met Gala event, right? It's like I'm not really sure, it's like more like some Golden Globe Awards kind of like event, but it's a Met Gala event, I'm not really sure. Now what happens, the moment the dress runs out of stock, the campaign automatically taken out by the AI. Why? Because there is no stock. But when a human intervenes and check, okay, why really, like people keep on coming to this particular page, there's no stock, there's nothing, but I mean, there's other stock like probably white color dresses, random color dresses available, but people are not making a purchase. Then when we intervene with our heat map and everything, we happen to realize this particular dress, people trying to buy or people trying to click more towards this blue dress or red dress. Now if you wait for end of the month report, end of the week report, you might have been losing certain amounts of sales, right? The moment human intervenes and see this is what is missing, we quickly talk to the merchandising team to increase the stock. We didn't have any stock, but we clearly said, hey, this is pre-order. Make sure that you know before you order the item because it will take another 1 or 2 months before you deliver. Just by implementing, I wouldn't say implementing, just by having some human looking into the data, we recovered almost about 4 million sales that we wouldn't have gotten if we just left it to the AI to do the job.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, and folks are in the audiences, who are managing your campaigns and sort of probably doing brand plans for next year. This is a great insight, right? So I'm just going to take now the last 5 minutes and probably just touch on the most talked about topic. And we're not going to get into details of generative AI, but I'll start with Este. Man, I think the hype has now sort of settled into reality with generative AI. What do you see, maybe we start with you, as one practical application of generative AI that's going to be extremely useful for marketers? Just one.
It's going to be your ability to make AI more personable. AI is too perfect. So once you've done the additional prompts, provide a context, we've all been through that today. Go and unperfect what's been created.
Great.
I would say hyper-relevance and personalization. Same as Este, I would say almost, but rather than randomly dishing out some random advertisement, hyper-relevance is something that probably we will look more and more into performance campaigns as the next.
Yeah, I would say it will bridge the gap between the large enterprises and the SMEs and the small businesses. The small businesses who didn't have enough budget, etc., to create video creatives, etc. Now it's going to be a lot more seamless. Not to say that it'll sort of deliver the same performance as someone creating a creative from the fly, like shooting a video, but definitely bridge the gap between the large enterprises and the small ones in terms of the ability to use visuals and videos more seamlessly. So yeah, and also the fact that creative testing now will become a lot more easier to do because you can make those small tweaks and test those through A/B testing. So I feel creative testing and more sort of in-depth testing on creators will become a lot more rampant with generative AI.
At this point in time, I would say the most practical use case would be in the areas of analytics and reporting. Rather than spending hours and hours just churning out stuff, people might be able to do things that matter. So right now, that's the most practical use case as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I can so relate, because that's something I do with my team, essentially driving media efficiency from automating, what we call as mundane tasks, for
Exactly.
for the agency, right? Okay, great. So we've got something really interesting. We've got a 4-minute video,
Of Ganesh singing.
Of Ganesh singing.
Not me singing, but a couple of the Gen AI experiences that Google has launched.
Yeah, and then we'll then do. Yeah.
We're going to move so
We're gonna move.
because we want to see this as well.
Go. Was this done on AI? Was the video generated by an AI?
Possibly. There's another one. Do you have time?
Yeah, I think right after this we'll wrap up. We will not probably get into, like the key takeaways, etc. I think this is a good.
Yeah, this basically
takeaway.
showcases how generative AI is now coming directly into the ads platforms. Specifically, this example is Performance Max, but you will see how it comes to life, and particularly useful for smaller businesses. Yeah.
Sosa cat food.
Good for your cat. Buena para el planeta.
Okay, thank you everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a line to the organizers and they'll reach out to us and we're happy to
So
share.
do we have any quick questions for them? All right, let's speak.
And thank you all. Thanks Kiran, thanks Ganesh, Este.
I'll be quick. I think my question is around when you're generating these images. I know, no two prompts are the same. But what happens if a different cat food company uses or gets the same images, and then what happens around copyright there? Who owns the ad? Or who owns the imaging that now I've used on this whole entire digital campaign and I've blasted it on billboards if I'm doing out of home, or anything like that. But when it comes down to it, does Google own the image? Do I now own it? Who owns the image?
So all of the images that you see are AI generated. So those are not owned by any specific sort of copyright or company. So you'll see that issue may not crop up so prominently. So it's not like a image that you've shot and put it on the internet. We'll not use those images.
So if another company approached me and they wanted to buy the image that was generated by me with my prompts, do I not have any ownership over that?
So you open up a really, really controversial topic that's been going on. So if I can talk on behalf of everybody.
Sure.
IEEE is a body that takes care of these things. They've been putting together an ethics committee of sorts, precisely talking about these kind of topics. EU has come up with the first draft of copyright privacy issues within AI. The short answer, there is no answer. Right now, it's a completely gray area. There is no concept of copyright or who owns what. At some point, once we start running into trouble, solutions will come.
So any more questions from the audience? So it has been a very great closing roundtable discussion. So thank you to all our speakers joining for today in a roundtable session. So can we have a big round of applause for all of them? So kindly stay back on the stage for the group photograph. So kindly come together.
Wait. So I will request Mithali to present certificates to the speakers. So first we have Kiron, Kesav. Come on guys, huge round of applause. Next we have Mugilan, Chitambram. And now we have Suhail. And next we have Este. And at last Ganesh. Come on guys, huge round of applause for the session.